Hello, everyone. I hope you've had a good summer. As August is coming towards its end, I know many of us are beginning to think about September and the beginning of fall term, and I know some of you have had some questions and concerns about returning to in-person learning. So let me try and address some of those now, and if you have other questions and concerns, please feel free to contact me at any point, but certainly before we begin in fall term. A question I'm hearing quite a bit now is, can I study remotely this term? And the answer is no. We are back to full in-person learning. Luther does not have remote or online programs. We have a few online courses, and those courses were particularly designed for the online format. And so you're certainly welcome to register in those and take them and study from home in those courses. However, the rest of the courses are to be in person. This means that you are expected to attend class in the building. If you have a medical condition or are immune compromised or have some other medical concerns about returning to studying in person in class, then I would ask you to get a hold of Accessible Learning. They will make an assessment, and then they will be in touch with the professors in your classes and let them know what the accommodation is that you need, and then we will make appropriate plans to support your learning. What do I do if I wake up and I don't feel well? Well, for many years, many of us have come to work and to school. If we wake up and we just feel a little unwell, maybe you've got a little bit of a sore throat, or maybe you have a few sniffles, you're thinking you're maybe getting a cold. But in light of COVID-19, we can no longer do that. So if you wake up feeling unwell, I would ask you not to come to class. Rather, I would ask you to get in touch with your professor as soon as possible, so they can be in touch with you with regards to how they might support your learning in the class for the day. This might mean, like we did pre-pandemic, that students would get class notes from peers, or depending on the format of the course, it might be appropriate for the professor to record their lecture and then upload that into My Learning Space. Or if the professor felt comfortable, they might be okay to bring you in remotely through the Zoom meetings that are on My Learning Space. What's important is, though, that you get in touch with the instructor as soon as possible so those kinds of arrangements can be made. So please do not come to class feeling unwell this year. That is also true for faculty and staff. We as well will not be coming to work if we wake up feeling unwell. So then what happens if my faculty person who's teaching the class wakes up unwell? They will email you as soon as possible to let the class know that it will either be canceled, or if the faculty member feels well enough to teach, it will flip to the remote context and will occur through a Zoom meeting. For those of you who are new this year, Zoom meetings can be found in My Learning Space for the course. On the top toolbar, you'll see a tab that says Zoom Meetings. Click on it. A window will open, and then you'll see the Zoom meeting for that class. Click on it, and you'll be able to join the class remotely. My hope is that we'll be able to keep ourselves well enough that we won't have to do this too often. But I'm also aware as we move into fall, we move into cold and flu season, plus the ongoing issues with COVID-19. And so we need to be prepared for these kinds of accommodations. Another question that I've been asked is, will the lounge on the second floor be open to students? And the answer is no. That room is not very large, and so my concern is that it doesn't really allow us to have students and faculty and staff in that room safely. So that room will be closed to students. Instead of being able to use the microwave in the lounge, what I am doing is I'm getting two microwaves that can be accessed on the first floor gathering space. There's a counter there that backs onto the servery, and there'll be a microwave on each end with a bottle of wipes beside it. This is very critical. I do not feel comfortable asking staff or other faculty, frankly, to be cleaning up after other people's food messes. That was never okay. But I think in light of the current pandemic that is still with us, it's not okay to expect other people to clean up after your mess. So if your food runs over, if it explodes in the microwave, there will be tubs of wipes available next to the wipe microwaves. Please clean up after yourself. If this doesn't occur and the microwaves are left dirty, then I will need to put them away. Because as I said, I don't feel comfortable asking staff or other people to clean up after your mess. So please, we're all adults here. Be diligent and clean up after yourself. One thing I've been aware of through the pandemic is that both studying remotely and even as we've returned to the building, our sense of community has changed. We've had community. I'm not going to say that we haven't, but it's been different. So in fall term, I'm going to invite you, when you're available, to participate in a community meal. I'm going to do them about every 3 weeks. So in fall term, there will be 3 during a lunchtime and one at supper time. So people who have an afternoon class may decide to stay, or those who have an evening class could come early. So stay tuned for more information about that. There won't be any agendas to those meals other than let's gather, let's sit together and eat, let's chat, check in, meet people, learn about each other, what we're interested, see how things are going, and it'll just be an informal way of being together. So stay tuned to your My Laurier email because more information will be coming about those soon. Another question I hear is, where should I park? There is no student parking at Luther. Our parking is extremely limited. We barely have enough parking for staff and faculty. Guests don't park here either. As a student, you can apply for a parking pass with Laurier, which would allow you to find a parking spot in one of Laurier's parking lots and then walk to Luther. Other options are to park on side streets, but again, I would invite you to check the City of Waterloo bylaws around parking and make sure that you are parking within the appropriate time limits, or you would risk getting a ticket. Another option is to park a little bit further away and pick up the train, which stops on Seagram Avenue, which is about a 2-block walk at the most, maybe just a really long 1-block walk to Luther, and that train runs frequently and is also another way to access campus. For those of you who are commuting from larger distances outside of KW, I'd invite you to check with your classmates in your class. See who else who might be commuting, and maybe you could carpool. That would both save your pocketbook, because gas, even though it's come down, is still expensive, and it's also being kinder to the planet. So I'd invite you to check that out as well. What if I'm having financial challenges? We do have a bursary that's available to apply for. You can speak with AFIA about that, or you can look on the Luther website. Full-time students automatically get a bursary applied to their tuition. You should be able to see that when you go into your account at Laurier. We also offer a weekly food distro at Luther. It's in the multi-faith room on the first floor, directly above my office, on Thursdays from 1:30 to 5:30. There's a variety of things that are offered there: fresh produce, eggs, sometimes there's dairy, canned goods, personal hygiene products, laundry detergent, lots of things. A big delivery from Cobb's Bakery every week, so there's bread and buns, sometimes scones and sweets. So if you are feeling challenged around financial issues, and having some access to some free food would relieve some of the pressure, I really invite you to engage the food distro. There's no questions asked. There's no shame in going there. Your student number is not asked for. You can go in and you can take as little or as much as you want. You can come every week if you'd like. you are most welcome to participate in that. We have found that there's a number of students on campus who experience food insecurity. In winter term, we were up to 185 students a week, and I anticipate in fall term that will increase in number. So if you aren't experiencing food insecurity and have the ability to share, then I'd invite you to bring canned goods, non-perishable things, and leave them either in the bin by the Bricker Avenue door or by the bell tower door, or on a Thursday you simply can drop it in the room. They're also always in need of plastic bags, so if you have extra plastic bags under your sink that are getting in your way, feel free to drop those off as well. Or if you would prefer to make a financial donation to support the food distro, you can do that through Luther's website. How do I find information about my program? Now, we will be having student orientations for the incoming students. You will be given access to your program handbook. If you are a returning student, you will have been given that program handbook. If you can't locate it or don't know where you saved it on your computer, it is on Luther's website. And there is program handbooks there. So go in, find the one for your program and review it. There's a lot of information there. A lot of your questions can be asked by reading the handbook. There is also a course checklist for every program. So go in and you might want to print off the checklist just to have it handy, or save it on your computer as a Word document. Fill in or check off the courses you've taken or are taking. Have a look at that before you register for courses in winter term. If you have questions around your courses and want to speak with your program advisor, please fill out that checklist before you meet with them, because that will make the meeting much easier and straightforward. So there's a lot of information there. Please make sure you're familiar with it. And then if you have questions, you can certainly approach AFIA or you can talk with your program coordinator. What if I'm having challenges in the term? So all of us make our best plans when we start anything, and then unforeseen things can happen. Learning is also a vulnerable activity. We can't learn if we aren't willing to be open to have our current beliefs and values challenged, to have our current areas of knowledge challenged, to be encouraged and challenged to expand into areas we didn't even know about. And all of this can feel quite vulnerable. It's absolutely a normal part of learning. And so if you're experiencing it, I want you to remember that this is what it means to learn. However, sometimes it can start to feel like a little bit too much. So your program coordinator is there certainly to touch base if you're having some challenges with course content. Also talk with your course instructors about this as well. If you find you're overwhelmed with assignments or don't know how to do them, or you have questions, again, it's best to ask the professor earlier than later. The night before an assignment is due is really too late, right? So start your assignments early. If you're having challenges, make an appointment with the instructor or speak to them before or after class, and they will be there to support you to find your way. You may have decided that you could take X number of courses in this term, and then once you get into it, you find, wow, I'm just really overwhelmed with everything else that's going on in my life, and I think I've got too much going on. Pay attention to the drop dates for a class. They're usually around midterm, and it is perfectly fine to withdraw from a class, pick it up at a later date. And then think about how many classes is reasonable for you to register in for next term. It is about the learning. I know a lot of you really want to get through the program and get on with your life, the profession that you've been waiting so long to work in. The degree, though, is an important part of your life. And this learning and professional development that you're going to do in your program at Luther is incredibly important to prepare you for the life that you're wanting to live afterwards. So please don't just rush through things. Create spaces and time in your life where you can critically reflect, think, write, and engage the materials that are happening in class so that you can get the most out of your courses and be well prepared to engage your professional life afterwards. So again, if you have questions, speak to your instructor, speak to the program coordinator. You can talk to me, and we're here to support you in the best ways that we can. I also want to remind you that it is possible to change from full-time to part-time status or from part-time to full-time status, term to term. And so if you've decided that you've got a really heavy term in winter with other things going on in your life, you could drop down to part-time, or you could take 3 instead of 4 courses as a full-time student. Or the same thing as a part-time student, you could take 1 course instead of 2. So there is flexibility within your degree program by term to determine your status in the program. You do need to fill out a form, and Afia can help you with that if you can't find it on the website, because you will be assessed fees depending on how many courses you're taking and whether you're full-time or part-time status. So please do this sooner than later. If you know you want to do that for next term, don't leave this till January 6th. To switch, because it just makes things more complicated. Good planning is helpful in lots of areas. Also, I want to remind you of the other resources that are there at Laurier. Greg Senema is our librarian. He's an amazing support for our students. He can help you with literature searches. He can help you learn Zotero. There are workshops at the library for that. How you do a literature review, and a whole variety of things. Make use of those resources. They're there for you. As well as you have access to the mental health resources and the medical services at Laurier. So again, if you're having challenges, it's best to engage sooner than later. As well as the Delton Glebe Counseling Center, which is across the street, is also available for students at Luther to access mental health resources. If you are a student, you will not see one of Luther's students who is doing a placement there. You would work either with one of the 3 social work students who are doing their placements there, or depending on your financial resources, you might see a professional therapist there. If you do use the services at the Glebe Center, it would mean you couldn't do your placement there. As we don't like to mix those boundaries. But please access the services that are available for you that can support you in your learning. As well as I want to remind you about the Writing Center. It's an excellent resource. Writing is not my best gift. I work with an editor in most things that I write, so there's no shame in having challenges in writing. The Writing Center has both graduate and an undergraduate assistants, so make sure you ask for the right level when you phone to make an appointment. Take your assignment, take the draft of what you've been working on, and they will go through it and help you structure your assignment, help you with grammar, help you represent your ideas in the best ways possible. So again, you can't do that the night before the assignment is due, so give yourself time. And help yourself learn to be a better writer. It's a life skill that's important professionally to be able to write well. And so again, take advantage of the resource. It's there. It's free. It's for you. So again, I want to say, if you're having challenges of any kind, please reach out, and reach out sooner than later. We want to support you to have the best learning experience possible at Luther, and we will work with you to find resources. We may not always have the resources available here, but we can help you find resources in the community that can support you to have the best experience you can in your program at Luther. So again, if you have any questions and concerns, please feel free to email me, or if my door is open, you're welcome to drop by. If you're a dog lover, Annie is with me most days. She's very happy to greet students and engage with you that way. And I look forward to having you back in the building. So best wishes for your semester. And also, I hope you can still find some time to renew and relax in these last few weeks of summer. So bye for now.